Call the member for Corangamite.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. It's a great pleasure to rise to speak on these appropriation bills. And today, Mr Deputy Speaker, I want to focus in my contribution on the many job creation programs and initiatives that our government is rolling out in Corangamite and across the Geelong region. Our government proudly has a very strong focus on job creation. And front and centre to reflect that commitment, Mr Deputy Speaker, is the commitment of an Australian Bureau of Statistics Centre of Excellence that will be commencing operations in Geelong next year. 250 jobs coming to Geelong, and this is particularly significant, Mr Deputy Speaker, because it stems from a review of the Victorian economy chaired by Industry and Science Minister Ian Macfarlane, and that was established in the wake of the announcement of the end of car manufacturing in this country. And in this review, it identified a number of different initiatives. How can we as a government work with the communities around Australia, including in my electorate of Corangamite, to create the jobs of the future? Not the Band-Aid solutions, Mr Deputy Speaker, that we saw under so many programs delivered by Labor. A great example is the money that was given to Alcoa. Very sadly in our town, Alcoa Point Henry is closing its operations, and it is causing enormous distress and enormous concern amongst many families in Geelong. But, Mr Deputy Speaker, we are focused on the long-term solutions. We are focused on creating the long-term jobs, not on the Band-Aid solutions, not on giving money here, not on giving money here, but building a strong and prosperous economy, investing in businesses, because let's not forget that 80% of our economy is driven by private enterprise. And unless we support businesses, small, medium and large, we will not see those jobs generated. In the case of the ABS Centre of Excellence, this is one of the initiatives identified by the review panel, and it's a great opportunity to bring this agency, or part of this agency, to Geelong. It will be based at Deakin University on the waterfront and open up many other opportunities for both Deakin and our town. So that is very, very positive. As part of that review that we conducted, we established a $155 million growth fund, including $30 million that will be rolled out shortly for regional infrastructure and $60 million for a next-generation manufacturing investment fund. Because, again, Mr Deputy Speaker, I come from a town which is a proud manufacturing town, and it was with some significant disappointment that the member for Corio in a recent contribution spoke about the fact that under the federal government manufacturing has died. It was regrettable because I think the member for Corio now regrets what he said. He knows it's not the case. Manufacturing is responsible for something like 40% of our local GDP, 12,000 jobs, 500 manufacturing companies. And we are going from strength to strength. Yes, we have challenges. And our growth fund, announced last year by both the Industry and Science Minister and the Prime Minister in Geelong, a great heartland of manufacturing, will help to drive the jobs of the future. One of the applicants under the Next Generation Manufacturing Investment Fund that I'm supporting is AKD Softwoods, a wonderful softwood sawmill in Colac. And, Mr Deputy Speaker, they are investing enormous dollars in their local business and in the Colac economy. The forestry industry in my region is a very important one. AKD supports about 300 local jobs, and I'm very, very supportive of the investment that they wish to make. Of course, we have the Geelong Region Innovation and Investment Fund, which to date has created something like 750 jobs at wonderful companies such as Cotton On, and new and developing companies, Carbon Revolution, an advanced manufacturer, Mr Deputy Speaker, which is making state-of-the-art carbon fibre wheels, making Geelong so proud. And under this fund, with the help of a grant, and of course the GRIF is primarily funded by the federal government, but also there's funding from the state government and Ford and Alcoa, and our government helped to negotiate a $10 million contribution, $5 million directly into the GRIF. We are helping to drive these advanced manufacturing jobs, and I visited Carbon Revolution recently with the Defence Minister and Kevin Andrews, and we saw what they are doing already. It is incredible. So already this new factory that has been developed again at Deakin University, this time in Warm Ponds, is delivering something like 160 new jobs. Another recipient of the GRIF Fund, Quickstep, which is working in the area of automotive materials, high-tech materials development for the global auto industry. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, anyone who says that manufacturing is dead in our town needs to come down and visit and see what's going on, because we are proudly investing in these jobs. We are a proud manufacturing town and we have a great future in manufacturing. Just last week we announced under our Auto Diversification Fund a $200,000 grant for another great manufacturer, IXL Backwell, who's also doing wonderful things with the manufacture of solar panels. And that's one of the reasons that I have been so supportive of the renewable energy target, Mr Deputy Speaker. The renewable energy target is incredibly important to drive jobs and investment and opportunities, particularly in regional Australia. And I'm very pleased with the announcement today of both the Environment Minister and also the Industry and Science Minister in relation to the important position that we have reached in trying to get a deal. And we really hope, Mr Deputy Speaker, that the Labor Party does come to the table. We have certainly made some concessions because, even as the AWU has said, the Australian Workers' Union, the 41,000 target is going to actually hurt jobs because it absolutely does impact on the aluminium sector, for one. So what we have tried to do is come up with a practical, rational proposal, one that I think is supported by unions such as the AWU. There's a lot of support from bodies such as the Clean Energy Council, but the position that we have announced is a very important one because we recognise how important renewable energy is in Australia, and it's certainly embraced very widely across my electorate of Corangamite, where some 24% of homes have either solar PV systems or hot water systems. So the RET has been very, very important in driving up this intake in solar energy. Mr Deputy Speaker, I've also been very, very proud about a local program that we've announced, the Geelong Employment Connections program. And this is a $500,000 program assisting the delivery of local job creation programs. And it's doing some incredible work, supported to a large degree by the Geelong LEN. And I must particularly mention Anne-Marie Ryan, who's been driving that, and really showing local employers, bringing employers together with industry, retrenched workers, introducing them to new opportunities. There's some wonderful programs, the Community Services Taster program, giving retrenched workers an insight into the opportunities in the community services sector. The Front Foot series, which was also funded, this was a series of 6 half-day sessions which were targeted to retrenched workers but open to all job seekers, and again identifying the areas and giving them the incentive and the enthusiasm and the skills to find out how they can seek opportunities in other areas. There's another program, the Advanced Manufacturing Taster program, again a very important program in helping workers and job seekers identify new opportunities in advanced manufacturers. And we talk about advanced manufacturing very broadly, from companies like Carbon Revolution right through to Boundary Bend, which is producing the biggest producer of olive oil, in fact, in Australia, and a very proud local manufacturer. There's also the Foot in the Door program, which is being rolled out, again giving job seekers the important opportunities to identify the jobs in our region. Of course, Mr Deputy Speaker, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, the Barwon trial is being rolled out, and that's been of great success. Some 3,500 participants are already reaping the benefits of being involved in the NDIS trial, and we have the headquarters proudly in Geelong, delivering, when it's up and running by about 2018, it will deliver some 300 jobs. So again, some wonderful opportunities for our region. One of the projects, Mr Deputy Speaker, that I'm championing, which will absolutely be a game changer for our region, is the Land 400 project, the $10 billion defence contract which will deliver armed combat vehicles. It's an incredibly important project for the region. I have got on the front foot on that project, Mr Deputy Speaker. It was wonderful to be there with the Defence Minister on an ASLAV, wearing my hard hat and saying to all of the primes, the international defence companies, come to our region, and if you leave Geelong out of your bid, you do so at your peril. And I was pleased to see that the Victorian government has announced a defence procurement office for Geelong, but I am disappointed, and I do want to make note of the fact that it was a $5 million commitment, and so far we have had only a commitment of 3 jobs in that office. Very little evidence of an expenditure of $5 million by the Andrews government. The Victorian government really needs to ramp up its effort if it's going to compete with South Australia. We need an ambassador, we need an incentives package, we need the sorts of incentives to bring defence companies to Geelong to make sure that we are front and centre on the Land 400 project. So the Victorian government and Premier Andrews needs to get its act together very, very quickly. Mr Deputy Speaker, we have some incredible roads infrastructure projects in our region. The Princess Highway, a project that I have been advocating for some 6 years, is being rolled out. Some sections of the road between Geelong and Winchelsea have been opened, and work has started on the section between Winchelsea and Colac, and that is going to make such an enormous difference for Winchelsea, for Birregurra, for the people of Colac. The Great Ocean Road, a $50 million commitment made by, of course, ourselves and the previous Victorian government. Very disappointing that this project, such an iconic tourist road, was so opposed by Labor in the lead-up to the last election and still being opposed by Labor. Mr Deputy Speaker, as we've heard in question time today, the big missing link is the East-West link. This is a project that will deliver 7,000 jobs. This is a project that, frankly, is making Daniel Andrews look like an absolute laughingstock in the eyes of international investors right around the world. This is a project that will save commuters in my hometown in Geelong some 3 hours a week during peak hour. And this is a project that Daniel Andrews is threatening to pass retrospective legislation to ensure that the Victorian government does not have to pay compensation for ripping up the contract. As the Prime Minister said in his letter to the Premier on the 11th of March, this is a vital project for Melbourne, it's a vital project for Geelong, and the threats made by Premier Andrews are nothing short, frankly they're quite frightening, because they will cause irreversible damage to our state. They will cause irreversible damage to our reputation as a place to do business. So again, once again, as I have been campaigning for many months, Mr Deputy Speaker, let us build the East-West link. Let us deliver almost 7,000 jobs. Let us invest in this vital infrastructure, so important for jobs, for our future and for our regional economy, where we, frankly, Mr Deputy Speaker, need every job we can get. Last but not least, the NBN. I'm incredibly proud that after such a mess under the previous government, where, of course, the satellite didn't deliver what Labor said it was going to deliver, fixed wireless, the government didn't acquire the spectrum it was meant to acquire in order to roll out fixed wireless NBN. We are now rapidly rolling out the NBN, and in my electorate, some 34,000 premises, Mr Deputy Speaker, will receive the NBN under the first 18-month rollout, on top of about another 5,000 premises under fixed wireless. And all of the small towns, Barongarook and Alvey and Corangamite and Gellibrand, so many small towns that were left off the rollout under Labor, have now been embraced by our government, because we committed that we would fund and we would roll out the NBN to those towns who need it first. But I am very much on a mission that Geelong must be included in the next rollout, the southern suburbs of Geelong, Belmont, Highton, Grovedale, Marshall, Warn Ponds, so important for our local economy and so important for our future. Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker.
I thank the member for Corangamite. The question is